So I'll be sharing my screen and I'll explain how things will move, right? The content, duration and everything, right? And meanwhile, if you have anything, feel free to ask. Maybe you can feel free to interrupt or you can post on chat. And, sharing my screen. I hope I am audible well for everyone.
Yeah, you're audible.
Okay, thanks, Ganpati, for confirmation.
Okay, just one question. Are we going to get the recorded session?
Yes,
Okay. Thank you.
very good. So I'll write down, right, key things for which about the recorded session, right, to share more on this, right? I'll share more details, how, where to access. Okay. Um, So first of all, a brief introduction, right? So again, my name is Amit, and I'm representing here networkings. So we'll be learning Cisco SD-WAN together. So I have total around more than 20 years of experience in networks. I have worked on diverse technologies with tier one ISP, tier one providers like Colt, BT. So I have worked on MPLS VPNs. I have worked in the backbone on public internet and then uh, Cisco security, Cisco IPsec, and then bit into wireless riverbed WAN acceleration optimization onto the Meraki and Fortinet SD-WANs as well. So I'll be showing you day by day the difference, how things are different in other flavors of SD-WAN as well, why they are so, right? And what are the most preferred Cisco SD-WAN networks by different organizations, depending upon their requirement. So before I start, if you have any question, feel free to raise. Okay. Assuming nothing, so uh, Cisco SD-WAN is currently named as Cisco Catalyst SD-WAN. So this is the present day scenario because this what Cisco SD-WAN is today, it was initially developed by a company called Viptela. That is the reason it was initially named as Viptela SD-WAN. And some of the, if you see some documentation, blogs, you may still see the name Viptela SD-WAN. At this moment, when Viptela developed SD-WAN, at this moment there was no role of Cisco in SD-WAN. It was around 2012-13. Viptela company owned SD-WAN. There was no touch of Cisco. There was different hardware altogether. OS of Viptela devices. Just like we have Cisco routers, let's say Cisco 4000 routers or Cisco ASR 1000 routers. Similarly, there are Viptela hardware. They are called as VH and their models are like VH 100, VH 1000, 2000, 5000, depending upon their capabilities. So around this time, only these devices supported Cisco SD-WAN. None of these Cisco routers supported SD-WAN at that time. So then Cisco gradually, when Cisco overtook this company, they started integrating this SD-WAN into their own devices. So iOS was upgraded. So Cisco modified iOS image to integrate SD-WAN side of things. So could you please mute in case you are not speaking in this meeting? Okay, thanks. So Cisco, what they did, they modified their iOS images. So for Cisco routers to run SD-WAN, they need latest image. They need at least, let's say, iOS XE base 17.x image. The earlier versions for this Cisco iOS, for these devices, there were 15.x series of iOS, 16.x as well. But for Cisco routers to run SD-WAN, they need at least 17.x iOS version. Anything so far? Okay. So at this moment, when Cisco SD-WAN was available on these two Viptela and Cisco routers both, this was named as Cisco Viptela SD-WAN because SD-WAN is now supported on Cisco and Viptela devices both. Then currently it is named as Cisco Catalyst SD-WAN. Why? Because what Cisco did, they developed another Cisco 8000 Catalyst devices. So for Cisco 8000 devices, Catalyst is another series of Cisco devices, right? So on those devices also, SD-WAN is supported. So Cisco 8200 and Cisco 8300. Now it is named as Cisco Catalyst SD-WAN because although SD-WAN is supported on this 2 and 3, all three devices, right? But these devices are now end of sale. Viptela devices are now end of sale. No more new manufacturing of Viptela devices. This was the original motive of Cisco as company to integrate, to keep SD-WAN only on Cisco devices, not on Viptela devices. They wanted to retain their own Cisco devices for their business, for their market value, for their face value, right? They basically want to phase out this name, Viptela. They want to get rid of this name so that they can brandish, they can say that this is their SD-WAN. Same stands valid for Cisco wireless also. Anybody in this meeting who has worked on Cisco wireless? So there is Air OS. It was a different company who had wireless devices, wireless technology they developed. Then Cisco overtook this company and then it became Cisco Wireless. They integrated wireless technologies into their own environment. Okay, this was a brief onto this, right? I'll come on to right general things and then we'll switch again to the for agenda of today's session, right? Introductory session. So Cisco Catalyst SD-WAN for weekends, right? Assuming 1.5 hours session per day into 2 per weekend, right? So roughly 3 hours per weekend, right? This course takes around 40 to 45 hours. Okay. So we can say approximately 2.5 to 3 months over weekends, this course would run, right? Rest, it depends upon the pace, how things go, right? Because I'll show you, right, each and every step for the use cases, different scenarios, and you need to, every one of you would need to simulate in your own lab. That lab instance would be provided by networking. So once you would enroll, well, let's say once you have enrolled, then you will receive email from networking team. They will share credentials to log in lab, plus there would be credentials for how to access recordings. These recordings are available after 24 hours of the session. So let's say if we conclude today at, let's say, India time, 10:30 a.m., this recording for today's session would be available tomorrow, same time at around 11 a.m. And this recording, I'm not sure about the exact time, but it will be available after the session as well. When we, let's say, after 2 to 3 months, if we conclude the session, right, let's say at after 3 months, and after this also 1 or 2 months, you can check for the exact time with the team. Here also this recording would be available. I'll share with you the notes, right? Steps, how to perform lab, command lines, right? For different environment, because we'll be working on PH, Viptela side of the device, and CH is the Cisco router acting as SD-WAN device. VH is the Viptela device. Viptela company hardware or software, it is always SD-WAN device. Cisco routers, they may be SD-WAN device or they may be non-SD-WAN device. I'll explain how, but they can be acting as plain router as well, plain device, plain routing device.
So, does Viptela's hardware still exist? Because you said earlier that these are end of sale.
Sorry, one more time.
So, does Viptela hardware still exist? Because earlier you
Yes.
said like it is the end of the sale. So, I mean to say like, does customers still use the Viptela hardware?
So it was around 2018-19 when clients started using SD-WAN, right? Because it was booming. At that time, only VHs were available. No Cisco device was supported SD-WAN. So most of the clients, they still have VHs, most of the devices, because it's not a one-day job to transform from VH to CHD. This is the ultimate push from Cisco now to move from Viptela environment to Cisco environment, right?
Yeah,
Now, I have seen networks with, let's say, 1800 VHs for an organization.
correct. Okay, but
And
like you mean to say like now, that sale has been stopped, whatever
yes,
devices are installed,
yes,
so the support is still being provided.
yes, technical support is still provided, but
Okay,
no more development. Any bug, any problem,
right. Yeah, yeah.
Cisco's recommendation is to move to CH, to Cisco route. No fix.
Yeah, got it.
So for a client, for an organization having 1800 VHs in their environment, right? It would take around 1.5 to 2 years to completely switch to Cisco or CHS, because there would be side by side movement, right? There may be challenges when platform is changed, let's say VH to CH organization, the client says their XYZ application is not running, they are having performance issues, right? So there are so many things when we change the hardware, right?
Correct, correct. Yeah, I know. Like I have seen like some of the customers who are very hesitant to move to the
Absolutely.
new devices because they say okay, their network is working fine. Why should they change?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right.
Because you never know, especially for the network environment, you never know when you change what will happen next, right? There are
Mm.
always worries that something may degrade, right?
Correct,
And
correct.
in this world
And
now,
and especially I have seen like a lot of that banking customers, they are
mhm,
very hesitant
mhm,
to make any changes because
absolutely.
when I work with my customers, I have seen the devices. I work on the Cisco Nexus
Mhm,
devices
mhm,
mainly,
mhm.
so I have seen like that devices which are running on the version which is 10-year old, which
Yes,
was the the basic one, and they are
yes,
not willing to change it. This is like
yes.
it is working
Because
as long as it is working fine. When they will face any issue, then they will decide. So don't
when
change
I
anything.
started my career, right, I was working with tier one provider, the CEO, right, the global CEO of that organization in one of the podcasts, right, what she was telling that for network devices, it is always recommended to do not touch until and unless it is too urgent. The reason you never know if a cable is plugged onto an interface, right? If you remove that cable and plug again, there is 50% probability that things would change, right? So
Correct.
you never know. There may be a little dust sitting on that port connector that could have kept that cable running, right?
Right.
So
Right.
so that is the scenario with networks, right? So you never know, even though, right, most of the I have seen many organizations, many users, they don't see problem when moved from VH to CH, right? But since they two are different platforms, right? So
Correct. Yeah.
still there are problems, not that much critical, right? But yes, for an organization who is having 1800 VHs, let's say 1000 locations, right? It is quite critical for them in case, let's say, out of 1000 locations, if let's say 1% of sites have problem after switching to CH, Cisco router. Although, although I have seen people are very much comfortable, right? Working with Cisco routers, right? So CHs, everybody, most of us, right, are already very much familiarized with the Cisco routers. So people are happy when they see Cisco command line again, right? Although VH, Viptela is also not much different. So VH is also, as you know, right? Cisco was the first company, right, across the world, right, in networks. So most of the environments you see, let's say Huawei or HP, right? They already have Cisco equivalent things, right? Show commands work, config T works, right? So similar things. So VH also, it inherited most of the things from the Cisco only. So most of the command lines are same as Cisco, not much difference. It's just
Okay.
that VH is the SD-WAN device. So only SD-WAN, right? So what Cisco routers did, or what Cisco actually, Cisco also had its own SD-WAN product that was named as iWAN, but it was not that much popular. It was not that much adapted by different organizations, so it was not successful. So Cisco phased out this product and they kept Viptela SD-WAN. They phased out their own product, which they were at a point of time, they were competing with other SD-WAN vendors right now to support Viptela SD-WAN, to support what VH has in terms of SD-WAN onto the Cisco routers. So Cisco routers become sandwich of VH plus Cisco. So most of the things are there from the Viptela environment when Cisco router is in the SD-WAN mode. So on Cisco router, we need to run a command to tell that you are a SD-WAN device or you are a plain router. I'll explain shortly the difference, how a device becomes SD-WAN or how is it different, right? So we need to
So,
run. Mhm.
So should our focus be on the Viptela? Like what is the demand?
Both.
Okay.
Because key point is the transformation from V edges to C edges. Viptela environment to Cisco environment. So we need to be expert in both,
Okay. Okay, got
right?
it.
Hmm.
Got it.
Okay. So now, now what I was
Uh,
saying. So
I got one
sorry.
question.
Mhm. There you go on, please.
The hardware
Mhm.
is no more manufactured. What about the UX? If there are any updates, are those updates in Viptela, VH, or no?
No. V edge. See, the key motive now from Cisco is to phase out. No more RMA, no more hardware replacement, no iOS upgrades,
What about the
Sys
patching?
nothing, no new iOS, no new patches, and
Do they add any new features if
no,
available?
no, 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 no,
Nothing.
nothing, nothing.
Okay.
So if so for some of the organizations, right, it is not a usual thing. There is Cisco has clearly denied that they won't be supporting the patching, right? But I have heard few organizations, right, large organizations like Verizon and AT&T, they have a contract with Cisco, right, to pay per device in case they need patching. And that is also, I have heard, valid for 1 year only. For general clients, no more new patching. But in case these large organizations, because they are the bigger clients, right, for Cisco, so they support patching. But for that, each company need to pay per device, and they need to agree in advance that this patching they are requesting for, let's say, 3 devices, and their serial numbers are these ones. Cisco won't support for any other devices. So their push, basically, Cisco wants to push that people should move to their Cisco routers. They want to phase out, they want to remove the Viptela touch everywhere.
Okay. In that case, for example, if a customer is using VH and if
Mhm.
they want to transition from VH to CH,
Mhm.
uh, what are the considerations Cisco does for this?
So you mean when we are going to move from VH to CH, right?
Yeah,
What are the key things we need to look at?
yeah.
Okay. So what I would say, VHs, we have only 4, 5 models, 100, 1000, 2000, 5000, right? The only key thing is in terms of throughput. And that is also not much. The reason is, right, enterprises, because see, these Viptela devices, they are for Cisco SD-WAN itself is the enterprise technology. When I say enterprise, it is for the companies like Genpact, banking organizations, right? Manufacturing companies, shipping companies. So this is for the different companies, not for the service providers. Like SD-WAN is not for, let's say, Airtel backbone. For their backbone network, SD-WAN is not the technology. It is for the enterprise. It is for clients to use, right? So when we are talking about clients, there we don't need that much higher throughput, right? At most in clients network, you will see, let's say, 1 gig or 5 gig or 10 gig of max throughput, right? So this throughput again is the only thing that we need to look at when we move from VH to CH. Answers your question?
Uh, Not really, but
Hmm?
Okay.
Can you, no, can you help explain, I mean, more of how you are thinking, like, what is your version, what you're expecting?
So, like, because there are no security patches, there are no updates
Absolutely.
or in the iOS with
Absolutely.
VH.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking to move. I don't want to use VH anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to completely move to CH.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to buy the new devices.
Mm-hmm.
So is Cisco going to consider, okay, you are our old customer, so we are going to provide you with the new device with pre-configured, like whatever I have already configurations have been done in my VH. So do I need to start those configurations from scratch, or it's kind of migration from VH to CH?
So there are both ways, manual and automation. We can manually prepare the configuration, right? Cisco also has automated thing, but only for the standard configurations. If you have something non-standard, then we
Yeah.
need to go to manual way of switching from VS to CA.
Okay. So in some
Okay,
cases it may be
uh,
a mixed
yeah.
hybrid. Okay.
Yes.
Just let me brief a little bit. Usually what happens, it all depends upon the agreement between the company and the provider. Let's suppose the Cisco. Okay.
Mhm.
So see, everything, nothing is free. Obviously, the Cisco also wants to have a good business, and the companies also want to tie up with the good vendors, right?
Mhm.
So even if there is a migration or any kind of thing, let's suppose like they are now opting for they want to move from VH to the CH, so they have the agreement with the Cisco. The Cisco will charge them. Okay, if you want only devices, we will give you. If you want, that. Uh,
Support.
Devices plus the support, the services. Like there are different teams. So I'm just telling you, giving an example because I'm working in Cisco. I know, like that these things like different teams. So there is an advanced service team. So who is mainly into these? That the customer says, okay, we will buy the advanced service. That package. So then the engineers, few of the engineers will be assigned to that company, and then what they will say, okay, they will share then, okay, this is the VH configuration and everything, we want to migrate from this to this. Then the Cisco engineers, those Cisco AS advanced service team will help them. And if they want only device, they said, okay, we are not looking for these services, we will manage it by ourselves, our team will manage it, we have, okay, then they will just purchase only the products.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks
So
for
will
sharing.
I get any discount because I'm the already customer? VH also means Cisco
I
customer. So
think
will
I
I get?
think we are moving in different direction, right? So of
Okay.
course there would be some commercial things, right? But what I wanted to
Okay.
highlight right here, that yes, thanks to Buran, right? That Cisco is giving that support, right, to transform with money, right? Of course,
Yeah.
with cost, but there is also technical support available. That is, so technical support in the existing contract with VHS. You don't need to pay anything else. If you have some query specifically on any topic, that you can ask Cisco, being technical support, that I am moving from VH to CH, how to do this, right? So in vManage, we have the option to migrate from VHs to CHs. We can manually prepare the configuration. The only, see, it is not a rocket science, right? If you learn SD-WAN, then you can do everything. Because this is what
Okay.
Cisco also doing. They are also engineers, right? They are doing similar things. It's just that they have official things. They know they have larger exposure to most of the clients, right? So as Burhan explained, right, Cisco is doing this thing. So there are many other organizations who are also doing same thing, like HCL, TCS, Infosys. They are also doing same job. They have engineers set up. They know SD-WAN. They are doing this thing, right?
Yeah.
So it's not a big deal. Once you will conclude this course, you would be able to do that. You can prepare configuration from VH to CH. Not much bigger thing.
See,
Okay.
the
Yeah.
more the more focus should be on our learning. So rest like
Yes,
just then migration and all these things. That is
absolutely,
the more of the
absolutely,
sales part.
absolutely. And even my based on my experience, right, what Cisco, when they are transforming for their clients from, let's say, VH to CH, right? That again depends upon money. If Cisco would be earning, let's say, 100 rupees, right? Then also, then only they will be doing this job by themselves. If, because as you know, there are too many competitors in the market, right? If any client is, let's say, Cisco is earning 10 rupees, but they earned this project, right? What Cisco does, they offload such products to different companies as well. Cisco have their gold providers, right? Gold certified providers, like smaller companies, right? I worked for one of the project that was third or fourth level of outsourcing with Cisco. Cisco earned a project from some company, they outsourced to someone, they outsourced to someone else, they outsourced to someone else. So I was on the third level of outsourcing to transform the client's network from Palo Alto network to Cisco SD-WAN. It was a hospital chain in US. They were having around 30 plus hospitals in US, and they needed to transform their existing network based on Palo Alto to Cisco SD-WAN. So that everything is about money.
Yeah, all good.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. So then, so talking about the certifications for this course. So this is the course 300-415 is the certification exam for SD-WAN, implementing SD-WAN solutions. It is 90 minutes exam. And of course, if you have appeared for any other exam, let's say CCNA, CCNP, it's a similar thing. These are the topics that will be there in certification, and we'll be covering all these topics.
So is this CCNP SD-WAN?
So this SD-WAN is essentially covered in 3 courses. One, it's about only SD-WAN. Then we have CCNP Enterprise. It has 10-20% of SD-WAN. So CCNP Enterprise, it has 10-20% of all these latest things. Let's say Python,
Okay.
DevOps. This is also 10 to 20%. Then we have, let's say, in CCNP Enterprise, we
CCI
have,
also has.
yes, so this is what I was coming on to, right? So for Python, it's 10-20% in CCNP Enterprise exam. And then there is, let's say, touch into SD-access. So like SD-WAN is the, so you can say SD-access is the SD-WAN for LAN. I'll explain what this is, right? SD-access.
So what we are studying is the superset.
Yes, so we will be walking through Cisco SD-WAN throughout this course. Under CCNP Enterprise, there is touch of all these topics.
Okay.
So if you cover this certification, then you know much more than this one. This is just basic thing. Like when you say CCNP, you study BGP, OSPF there, right? We have the touch of BGP and OSPF in CCNA as well. Same thing. Just a touch up. And also we have CCIE, Enterprise Infrastructure. It covers all these things plus many other things like DevOps and more detailed or things for Python and SDXS and all those things. So what we will be studying is this one, all the topics of SD-WAN.
Okay, you mean to say when we say only SD-WAN, we are learning the technology, but when we say Python 10 to 20%, it means how to implement SD-WAN through Python.
No. Python individually, the use of Python with networks.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Got it. So we are learning the technology. Those
Yes.
are the different implementations.
Yes.
So what is it is level? So is it ENSDWI something level of CCNP, CCNE or what?
So you can say SD-WAN is, when we say EN SDWI, it is CCIE for SD-WAN. Everything about SD-WAN.
Okay. And for that, like we can directly go for this exam, or is it some?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Directly.
So this
Okay.
means the superset
Yes,
of all. Yeah.
yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Will it also cover the Python or HD, any programming language in this?
No, not as such in detail, but I can show you how we can integrate those things with SD-WAN. Because as Cisco SD-WAN will take, let's say, 2.5 to 3 months, same is the case for Python. If you go to learn Python, that will take again that much time because it has in-depth things for Python as well, just like we have for SD-WAN.
Okay, let's start.
Okay.
So, like we have Cisco SD-WAN, there are other vendors in the market who are also providing, selling SD-WAN support, SD-WAN network, right? So, like Fortinet, they also have their SD-WAN. The advantage, the things that Fortinet markets, that they have security inbuilt because they are master in security. This is their marketing thing, that they have security inbuilt along with the SD-WAN. Hello Alto. They also have Silver Peak, Velo Cloud, Versa. Versa is based on Juniper platform. So there are many other vendors like Nokia, Noes. They also have their SD-WAN. Meraki, of course. Now, these are all vendors who have their share in the market. Some clients may be using some of these things, right? But for most complex, most large sites, as much I know, Cisco SD-WAN is the only vendor, only company who can support large and the complex networks. So in simple words, in simple network, right? How SD-WAN differs from the existing network. First, I would need to share with you how existing sites are connected. In existing environment without SD-WAN. So circles, these are router 1, let's say, in Delhi. Let's say router 2, another location in, let's say, Mumbai. Router 3, let's say in Bangalore. Router 4, let's say somewhere in US. They are connected to some ISP, Internet Service Provider. It can be public or private. If you are not clear about the difference about public and private, don't worry. We have few classes for prerequisites only. We'll have 4-5 classes, initial classes for prerequisites, where I'll explain difference between public and private, MPLS VPNs, then IPsec panels, because these are the key things that we need to understand before going deeper into the SD-WAN. So 4 sides, there would be users sitting behind, let's say, in US, behind router, I have a core switch sitting in the office, right? Behind this core switch, there may be access switches. And on these access switches, there may be wireless access points connected, or users may be connected via the LAN cables. This is how usual connectivity is across the organizations. Router, core switch, then distribution or access switches, they are further connected to, let's say, access points or servers or printers or users. For a user to give a print, right, their flow would be like this. If this is a printer, if this is a user machine, they will go via their access switch. Now, the similar infrastructure we have on all the locations. In Mumbai side, there would be core switch. There would be users sitting behind this core switch, maybe via access switch or wireless network. For this user to, let's say, communicate to this user. Let's say if they want to share a file, right, there may be intranet SharePoint to exchange the files between them. The path would be like this. This is how communication happens between two users in an organization who are sitting in different locations. Anything so far? Okay. Then so now if this is a private network, then security is not a challenge. One of the reason, one of the advantage, one of the requirement for SD-WAN development is the security. Because if this is a private network, then security is not a big problem because it would already be a private network. But what if this is a public network? Because private network is expensive, like MPLS VPNs, point-to-point metro Ethernet links. They have their cost associated, so it is expensive. But if we want to reduce the cost, right, then we need to move to the internet links or public links. Public links means internet lines. But with internet links, the problem is the security. That we don't have security. They are open. Now, to cover this security thing, what if I say we have public links only, ISP, internet links only? Then this would be an open network and it's vulnerable to security, right? There are security risks. And of course, over public network, over internet is less expensive, or we can say is cheaper than private networks. To reduce the cost, the organizations wanted to switch to the internet, but with internet, there was problem with security. Now, if I simply move this network as SD-WAN environment, the difference here would be for this PC and for this PC to communicate to each other, the prerequisite would be the site-to-site IPsec tunnels. That site-to-site IPsec tunnels, this we can configure in the legacy environment as well. Here we can configure site-to-site IPsec tunnel, but it would be manual. So if we have, let's say, 4 sites, then there is not a bigger thing to configure IPsec tunnels. We can do it manually. 1, 2, 3, 4, like this. But as number of sites increase, the overhead increases to configure the IPsec tunnels and also to manage the life cycle of these tunnels in case there are packet drops, link flapping, right? But here in the right side, in the SD-WAN side of the environment, on right hand side, when we are in the SD-WAN world, these side-to-side IPsec tunnels are established automatically. We don't need to do anything. So side-to-side IPsec tunnels are here on left hand side. These are manual. We don't need to do anything to establish these IPsec tunnels, to establish this secure path. So even though we are using internet lines, we don't have the overhead of configuring the IPsec tunnels. We need not worry about the security. Anything on this?
So this IPsec would be created automatically for us
Yes. Between all sites.
when the network is public.
Even if it's a private network, on SD-WAN side, IPsec tunnel would be there. Even if it
Okay.
is a private or public, irrespective of type of link.
Okay.
So in case of the private network, do we still need the IPsec, or because the private network will be more secure?
Yes and no, right? Why? Because it really
Depends.
depends upon nature of business, right? I have seen certain banking organizations currently, when they are not into the SD-WAN environment, they are still into the non-SD-WAN environment. Still, they build IPsec tunnels on the top of private network. They want to be extra secure. But ideally, we don't need that.
Just an additional layer of security.
Yes, yes. Because let's say when we say private network, right? It is, although we say private, but at some point of time, it is not a completely private. Because let's say we talk about some bank, right? Let's say Deutsche Bank. They have their locations. Let's say they have one bank in Delhi, one in, let's say, US, one somewhere in Germany, right? 3 locations. Ultimately, they need some connectivity to share the data, right? To connect different sites. They ultimately need to go to different providers, right? They don't have their own infrastructure. They may not have undersea cables, their own undersea cables for data to travel. Ultimately, they would be sharing that undersea cable, right? Because all the clients, all the users, all internet users, if I am sitting on internet now, I am speaking and you are listening to me. If let's say you are sitting somewhere abroad, the data may be traveling through the undersea cables, right? That is again shared. Even if, let's say, if we talk about AT&T, Verizon, BT, they have their backbone infrastructure, but they may not have under their own dedicated undersea cables. Even though we say private, but somehow it is shared also. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So total private is when you own everything end to end. All fiber cables, all mux, right? All switches, everything if you own, then only it would be completely private. But that would have the huge cost associated, right? So why not just use shared infrastructure and build IPsec tunnels? We have same thing, right?
Yeah.
Ultimately, we need security. Yes.
Yeah, I got one another question. So this side to side is between each of the sides, right? As you
Yes.
have shown.
Yes.
So Delhi with Mumbai, Delhi with
Yes.
Bangalore, Delhi with US.
Yes.
Likewise, so in this 4 locations, we'll have 6
So
side to side connections.
yeah, let me move it to more clearer picture, right? So
I guess
on
it also depends upon the topology to topology.
yes, of course, of course.
Now, do we
Because
have do we have the option of hub and spoke side
Yes,
to side?
yes, absolutely.
Okay, okay.
yeah, maybe
So
like there is some branch offices and there's a central office and all the
yes,
branch offices needs to be connected to
absolutely,
the center.
Hub
absolutely.
and spoke.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
explain that as well. So on left hand side, we have 4 offices in non-SD-WAN environment, right? And let's say if we talk about first, let's talk about any to any or full mesh topology, where we need IPsec tunnels between all the sites.
So we'll require 6 connections.
One, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
6.
Now, what if I want to add one more device in the network?
So there will be 10. We have to connect this with everybody else.
1, 2, 3.
6.
And that n into n minus 1 by 2.
6.
Yes,
2, 3.
so that formula, right? Now, what if I want to add one more side?
Becomes even more complicated. So we
Complex.
have the formula n
Yes.
times n minus 1 by 2.
So that would be the
that
number of tunnels, right? Now let's come on to the SD-WAN environment. We have network, irrespective of public or private, 4 locations initially. So there would be WAN links, right? Black solid lines. Now we don't need to anything. On left hand side, I need to configure these IPsec tunnels manually, all these tunnels. Although we have DM VPN, but that also has its complexity associated, right? Here in Cisco SD-WAN side, what will happen? The IPsec tunnel would be established automatically.
automatically. So if we add one site, again it will be created automatically.
Yes, automatically.
Okay.
So if we add one more site,
Will that going to be a mesh or it is going to be a hub and
full mesh,
spoke?
full mesh by default,
Full mesh.
but
Okay.
we can define this to be hub and spoke as well.
Okay.
So this is one of the topology of SD-WAN environment, right? Other can be, that is up to us. We can define, we can say that if we have, let's say, similarly, 4 devices, I can designate one of the device to be, let's say, hub, or let's say hub 1, hub 2. In that case now, the IPsec tunnels would be between only towards hub 2. If we add a new site in our network,
with the 2 of them only.
yes, so it will only establish IPsec tunnel to hub 1 and hub 2. This is for the case of hub and spoke.
Hub and spoke with redundancy.
We can have even without redundancy as well. This is I just
so,
shown you to
yeah,
say that
so we
there
can
could
have
be,
only one hub.
we can have 1, 2, 3, as many hubs we want.
Yeah.
This is what we are talking about, a general network, right? 4, 5 sites.
Yeah.
Think of a network with 2000 locations. What do you think? What topology would be there? So there are organizations who may have network in different geographical regions. One, let's say, in China, other in, let's say, APEC, other than China. This is usually happens, what I'm sharing with you. So, Europe and Middle East, Americas. We can have, let's say, full mesh topology for China sites only. Hub and spoke for Asia region only.
So
Europe
this
and
would
Middle
be
East, we can again have full mesh, it, whatever we want. So we can even have segregated topologies like this as well.
so hybrid.
Yes. So any device in China region won't be establishing IPsec tunnel to sites in the Asia region. They will only be having tunnels towards the devices in their own region. This is also possible. And this is one of the aspects of SD-WAN. So this is so the context here is to generally understand the difference between the existing environment and the SD-WAN environment. That how SD-WAN network is different from the legacy network. That there would be site-to-site IPsec tunnels between all the locations by default. And these are automatic, we cannot disable this.
So is this the only feature or other features of
No,
this?
I'm coming on to others as well. So this is the key thing to understand, right? When I say CH can be for Cisco router, when Cisco router is in SD-WAN mode, then it is known as CH. And Viptela router, Viptela device,
VH.
they are always SD-WAN. And they are called as
VH.
VH. Viptela devices, they are always in SD-WAN mode.
So
Cisco router,
can a Cisco router have both SD-WAN mode as well
no,
as non-SD-WAN?
no.
One mode only.
So as we talked about, let's say I'll take the example of, let's say now 2 sites only to show you the difference, right? So that not to keep it neat and clean diagram, right? So if I have 2 sites,
No,
two devices,
my question was, when we are just trying to build up the, that new configuration, is this that on the same router we can make it as non-SD-WAN, or
No,
we
only
can
one.
make,
yes, so we
Only
can
one.
make either of them, but not both.
yeah, yeah,
Either of
not
them.
both, but either option
Yes.
is like as in the ACI,
Yes.
there we have the option that same 9300 device, if we install the NXOS operating system, it will work as a standby, a
Yes.
standalone device. If we put
Yes.
the ACI operating system, then it can be the
Same
part of
thing.
the ACI.
Same thing.
Okay.
So 2 routers for automatic IPsec tunnel to be established, both of them should be either SD-WAN device or non-SD-WAN device. All devices should be in same mode, either SD-WAN or non-SD-WAN.
For what?
Should be in same mode,
Same mode
either
for what?
for SD-WAN to work or for to let them communicate. So let's say if we say this is a VH device, and if I say this is a Cisco router in non-SD-WAN mode, they won't be able to communicate. When I say they won't be able to communicate, if a user is sitting behind here and another user is sitting behind here, they won't be able to communicate to each other.
So Cisco has to be in SD-WAN
SD-WAN
mode.
mode, yes. Because When Cisco router is in the non-SD-WAN mode, the automatic site-to-site IPsec tunnel won't be there. Because Cisco router in non-SD-WAN mode, it does not know that I need to build a site-to-site IPsec tunnel. There are many other things, right, that I'll explain here now. So on a Cisco router, there is a command called as controller mode enable. If I run this command, this device would pop up a warning that running this command would erase all existing config, or it would reset to factory default. Everybody, you're comfortable? What is factory default?
Yeah.
When we purchase a new phone, the first thing that
But
we
this
do after
would be
purchasing.
so this would be factory default for SD-WAN, not the regular router.
So when I say controller mode enable, we are assuming this device in the legacy mode, non-SD-WAN mode. Okay.
So does it mean that same operating system can be used for the
Yes.
SD-WAN and non?
Yes.
So not as in the ACI, because we have a
No.
different operating system there.
Yes, you are right. So same operating system we can use for both modes.
Okay. Just with command,
Yes.
we can just change it to the
Correct.
SD-WAN mode.
Correct. Yes.
Oh, okay.
So this is equivalent to IPv6 unicast routing.
Yes, correct.
Okay, just for analogy.
Yes. So when I'm running this command controller mode enable, that means this router is in the legacy mode, non-SD-WAN mode currently. We want to move to Cisco SD-WAN mode. Then I need to run this command. It would reset the configuration to factory default. What factory default means? When we purchase new phone, we don't have other all applications installed in that phone, right? Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. So we need to install those applications. But once we reset to factory default, our all applications which we downloaded later after buying new phone, those would be deleted. So there is certain factory default configuration on each device when we purchase a new hardware, right? It would reset to that basic configuration. Then it would give us a warning. It will ask, are you sure? Yes or no?
Yes.
So we need to input Y or N. If I say yes, it would go ahead. It would reboot the device and erase the existing configuration.
And when we reboot, it will be SD-WAN enabled.
Yes, when it would come back up, it would be in SD-WAN.
SD-WAN. Can we copy our old configurations from TFTP server or any other backup mode?
When you say old configuration, when the device, there is a different configuration, you can say.
Okay.
Or
We actually don't need them, the old ones.
no,
Okay.
it will not work even.
Okay.
They have different command lines.
So altogether, we have to start from
Yes.
scratch.
Yes, absolutely. Now,
Can we revert it back to the
yes,
non-SD-WAN?
yes,
Okay.
we can. The beauty with Cisco SD-WAN is that in the existing mode, in or before I run this command, controller mode enable, there is one standard configuration file name, Cisco SD-WAN.cfg. The configuration that we are expecting in SD-WAN mode on a router, we can keep this configuration in boot flash. The new configuration for SD-WAN environment. This is the default feature set that when this Cisco router would come back up, in SD-WAN mode, it would look for a configuration file by this name.
Okay. If it is there, it will load from there.
Yes. So we don't need to send field engineer on site. Console access, we don't need. The configuration we are placing in advance in the boot flash.
Yeah, sorry, could you please repeat back that Cisco SD-WAN config file?
So for, let's say, when we are running this command, we are expecting that device would switch to the SD-WAN mode, right?
Right,
For
right,
SD-WAN mode, we need different set of new configuration.
correct.
That new configuration we can place in advance in the boot flash proactively.
Okay, okay.
Because let's say if I run the command controller mode enable, right? The dumb feature would be that device would reset and it would come back into the SD-WAN mode. Now device will say take the console and do the configuration.
Okay.
For that, we need engineer on site to take console and do basic configuration, make device reachable remotely, like that, right?
Right.
This Cisco did this because Cisco knew that most of the organizations, they have large number of devices. So now think of, let's say, organization having 2000 devices, and when they need to transform to CH, they would need at least 4000 engineer visits. 2000 at minimum, just in case something goes wrong, cable faulty, device faulty, power supply, etc. Various issues, right? 4000 site visits for one organization. It would be huge cost for all the organizations. So Cisco did a proactive job that you can place the configuration in advance.
Okay.
We are
Just
setting.
for it is reachability and all these things, and
Yes,
so once we run
absolutely.
the command, so we have
Absolutely.
the access to the switch in the
Absolutely.
SD mode. Okay.
At least we can keep the SSH connection open from remote so that we can do rest of the things when device comes back up.
Yeah, right.
And another beauty, top up thing here is that in case this goes wrong, that device is not able to boot with the new configuration in SD-WAN. Device would go back into the legacy mode with the previous configuration so that we have remote access.
So that will happen automatically.
Yes, yes.
So even if
Okay.
those configurations were erased when we said yes.
So it's when I say erased, that is erased at the moment when it switches to the SD-WAN mode.
Yeah.
But it is there in its memory.
So it automatically creates backup
Yes,
somewhere.
yes.
Okay. That's beauty.
चपाती भाजून देते का त्या ऊन कंदी
Could you please mute? So this is the, and when we run this command controller mode enable, when device comes back up in the SD-WAN mode, right? Here it is called as the controller mode device. And when device is in the legacy mode, then it is called autonomous mode. So autonomous mode and controller mode. Autonomous mode meaning device is in the legacy mode. It cannot run SD-WAN. Controller mode meaning device is in the SD-WAN mode.
Okay, so this is the command control mode enable. Use it to
Move to
move
the SD-WAN
from.
mode.
So what if we want to move from SD-WAN to the
Disable.
non-SD-WAN?
Controller mode disabled.
Okay.
So one
Okay.
router, one for the controller mode and second one for the normal mode. Right? So it's our choice which mode we need to enable. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
But for these site-to-site IPsec tunnels to run, they both should be in controller mode.
Okay.
And Viptela VHs, they are always in controller mode. There is no option to enable or disable. They are always in the controller mode for Viptela devices, Viptela hardware.
That is what they are made for.
Yes.
Okay, now one question. What is the main gist of SD-WAN?
I'll come on to that as well. Are we comfortable so far?
Yeah.
Yes.
Content, pace, everything. Are we good?
Yeah, all good.
Okay. No. This was the one of the use, you can say, one of the advantage of SD-WAN. You can say one of the key use, advantage or feature of SD-WAN. Now, SD-WAN, software defined wide area network. SD, software defined. Already on Cisco router, right? Irrespective of if it is in the SD-WAN mode or non-SD-WAN mode, we already have software-based approach or no? We can use different scripts to do the router configuration.
Yes.
Python, Ansible, TCL scripting. We can use too many scripts, right? And
Yeah.
if you might have worked on, let's say if you see any bug on Cisco router and there is no bug fix, what Cisco engineers say that we will go to Beam, to their development team who work on software. Because Cisco router is a combination of mix of hardware and software. So we can say on Cisco router in legacy mode, 50% of things are done in the hardware, 50% of things are done in software. With software defined wide area network, you can say hardware would be, let's say 25% and software would be doing 75% of the things. More of the software use, more of the automation use, more coding. Can we do the remote configuration of the router or no?
Yes, we can do.
How we can
SSH.
do the remote configuration? Yeah,
SSH.
using SSH, but again, that would be on CLI, right?
Yeah. Web
So,
access.
but for Cisco routers, may I know how we can do the web access of Cisco routers, how we can do web-based configuration on Cisco routers?
I think a link will be provided, IP address for
IP
this
address.
particular device.
By Cisco Cloud. Any.
Okay. Cisco cloud, right? Sorry, I haven't seen this. I haven't worked on this, right? So web-based configuration, when you say. So if at all this feature is there, right? And everything is possible, right? There is similar thing in Cisco SD-WAN that we can do the configuration sitting on a device remotely. We can perform configuration of the router. We can configure router remotely. When I say router or routers, 1,000 routers we can perform in one command. One command instruction from a thing called as, just like in ACI we have controller, here also we have SD-WAN controller. It's a virtual machine controller. I'll explain more details. Sitting on this remote controller, we can perform remote configuration of one device, two device, three devices, or let's say all devices. We don't need to do the manual configuration. What if what happens if I am performing configuration of the router in legacy mode? What if I mistakenly shut down this interface, the only interface using which I can SSH to the device? What if I shut down this interface mistakenly?
I
What's
will
the what?
lose.
Yes,
I will
we will
lose the
lose this,
connection.
right? What is the way around to counter this?
Loop back.
We can use loopback, right? But again, that loopback would be reachable over that physical interface only, right?
Yeah.
The console is also weak.
We can use console, right? But
Yes,
again, cost, time.
For
correct.
console, we need the physical access.
Yes. We need someone on site that has cost associated. That will take time. There are premises, there are certain organizations where entry is restricted. You need to take permissions, data centers, right? Restricted
But
areas.
Can we do
there are also options in which the console is connected to their switches, and then they have the
Absolutely.
access to.
Remote access servers, I understand. But
Right.
again, cost, right? You have
Correct.
a device sitting idle connection there. You need maintenance of that device, power, so many things,
Correct.
right? Just to
can we
manage.
have auxiliary?
Yeah, but again, that same thing, right? You need
Okay.
alternate connection to go to the device.
Yeah.
You need something else, right? With SD-WAN, what happens if you mistakenly do something which makes you lose access to the device remotely? This device would automatically roll back the configuration if it lost reachability to this controller after certain change.
Automatically.
Yes. But
So
the only
whatever
condition
configurations I have done, those will not be saved.
reverted. Everything would be reverted. The only condition it monitors is the connection back to controller after the change.
Mm.
It monitors every time we make some change remotely.
So for the SD-WAN environment, right? So the
Sorry,
con
what will happen? I missed out this.
So when I am doing some configuration remotely from SD-WAN controller to any device, in case anything goes wrong that makes this device lose reachability to controller after the change. This device would monitor for 5 minutes that if this connection comes back up after the previous change, if not, it would automatically roll back to the previous known good configuration.
Okay.
So, my question is that, so for the SD-WAN environment, the controller is the main thing, right? So whenever
Yes.
if you configure remote sites, always the remote site always trying to in contact with the controller, right?
So the role of this controller is to only manage the configuration. For communication between other sites, there is no role of this controller. They would be communicating directly to each other. I'll explain that as well. For now, you can just keep in mind that it is for the remote configuration perspective only.
Okay.
So it means that you said like is it only for the initially when we're trying to put the configuration from the SD-WAN to these
Anytime throughout the life cycle.
see let's suppose uh, there is some physical issue
Mhm,
that SFP that port is that the physical hardware issue.
mhm.
So what will happen? So let's suppose it loses the reachability to the controller because of
No.
let-
See, this configuration revert is only the moment we do some configuration change over remote, not about the any other problem, physical problem or anything else. Only the moment we do any configuration change remotely. Only then it monitors.
okay. Okay, so it is when we made new changes, the
Yes,
device accepts the new changes, but it found that okay, it lost the reachability to the
right,
controller. So
right,
at the time, it will just move to the previous.
correct.
So that
Yes,
means they are just sending some packets for the reachability.
yes, that's
Okay,
right.
okay, got it.
So in future, if we want to make any changes to any remote site, so we have to go through the controller all the time.
Both options we have. Either we can do it on CLI or from remote, but
Oh,
either of them can be used. Both cannot be used at a time.
okay.
Okay. One, we talked about auto IPsec tunnels, the advantage with SD-WAN, right? Security. Two, remote configuration management. Now, the key concept of this trigger, right? This would be the final point for today, right? The key thing. Although this should have been covered at the start of this course, right? So we would be covering things right in this manner because as and when the topic comes in, so software defined. This keyword is inherited from SDN, software defined networking. I'll explain more tomorrow about SD-WAN in detail, right? For now, I'll just give you high level picture. What SDN is? Software defined networking. This SDN technology was invented to allow devices communicate independently of different planes like control plane, data plane, and management plane. So we'll be covering more about these planes tomorrow, right? For now, a brief example for seasoned network engineers, right? People who have been working into, let's say, Cisco routers. If I have BGP running between two routers, what if this BGP process is causing high CPU? Have you faced this problem or no?
Yeah.
So what happens when this CPU process is high? Can we
It
log
will
into the
impact.
device?
It will impact the other services, and it will also. It
Yes.
will difficult.
Probably it will stop. It will not work at all.
Yes. So we won't be able to even log into the device. Telnet,
No,
SSH, not available. It won't be available, right?
they have to
Also,
restart. Yeah.
yes, we need to restart, right? What if there are two pieces? Users sitting behind these routers. When CPU is 100%, they won't be able to communicate as well between each other. Right?
Yeah.
So this user packet is data plane.
Telnet SSH is management.
So Telnet SSH is the management or management plane.
And the routing.
BGP traffic, BGP updates,
Yeah.
Control.
routes, they are part of control. So these three things are unified when a Cisco router is in the legacy mode. If control plane is causing high CPU, other two planes are also not available. Concept of SDN is to separate these three different planes. So with SD-WAN, what happens? There are three different virtual machines. they act as SD-WAN controllers. 3 machines, 3 devices. 3 devices or virtual machines. They have their individual roles. One of the machine is taking care of control plane solely. One of the machine is acting as management plane only. And routers themselves, they are part of data plane only. Any routing exchange would be via this path for both routers or all routers. For any route to be exchanged, they would be talking to this machine. For any remote configuration, they would be talking to different machine. Their actual packet between the users, they would be following this path. There is no dependency on control plane virtual machine, management plane virtual machine. So
How is
3
that
different
possible?
places. Sorry,
How is that possible?
I'll explain. We will see.
Okay.
We will do everything. We will set up these machines. We will do everything. For now, on high level, just we need to understand that we need to somehow separate these 3 different planes, that there should not be any dependency. If there is problem on this control plane machine, our management plane is still there. I can still log into the device. If management plane has problem, control plane is still there. Their routes can still be exchanged. No dependency on them. Just they are needed once initially to provide the information, and then they are standby. They are not needed.
So is this a kind of decoupling?
Yes.
Okay.
Decoupling these 3 different planes. Earlier, they were glued together on one router. They were unified. Any of the plane has problem, all these 3 planes are impacted. Control plane was having problem, our data plane was not available.
Yeah.
Okay, Amit,
Mhm.
one question. So that's what, like, in case of non-SD-WAN, okay? So each device will have the control plane, management plane, and the data plane individually, right? Right. So let's suppose talk about the control plane, and let's just support of any of the protocol, BGP, OSPF, okay? If there is any changes in the routes and all these things, so that will be handled by its control plane, right? On each of the device.
No, control plane is about routing.
Yeah, that's what I'm just giving an example of. Let's suppose the OSPF, right? So let's suppose, like, one of the link went down, and now this device will just make a decision. Now it has to make a decision to reach to the destination. What is my second path or the best path, right? Correct.
That
So
is
at
again
that
routing
time,
table. Routing table.
correct. So that is
Yes.
the control plane, correct?
Yes. Yes.
So as you know that here you said, like, the control plane is handled by that controller. So does it mean that all the devices, like, I have the 20 routers, so all their routing and everything decision is being handled by this controller?
Yes. That is the
So
only job of this control plane device,
so that means,
controller device.
like, now we have the centralized the control,
Yes. That's
and it
correct.
then and it has a more visibility, like it
Yes.
has the visibility of all the devices. Earlier, like, it was happening per hop basis, right?
Yes. Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay.
So that
So
means that you
does
have more control.
Yes.
okay. So with control plane, as explained by you just now, does it mean that individual routers will not have any routing tables on them? There will be only
Forwarding table.
one.
They would only
Sorry?
have forwarding table.
Okay.
These routers,
Okay,
they
you
would
mean to
never
say
be.
the fib table, right? That
Yes.
will be the fib
Absolutely.
table, which will be in their line
Yes.
cards.
Yes. Correct.
Okay. No rib will be all controlled by that controller.
Um. For now, you can assume that there won't be read table, but we will talk about that as well. We can park this for now so that not to confuse, because they are data plane devices. They would have fib table only from WAN perspective. But
Mm.
if you think of LAN device, if you are running routing protocol towards the LAN, then it would have RIB as well, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Or if you talk about WAN perspective, if you look at SD-WAN network only, then yes, only fib table, no RIB.
Okay.
Because RIB is with this device. This is the dedicated job and only job of this device. Taking care of control plane, receiving control plane information, cascading the control plane information to other sites and vice versa.
Okay. Now, in this case, what is the role of IPsec, CEF?
CEF is the Cisco proprietary thing, right?
Yeah.
If you think of Juniper, HP, Huawei, right? There is
Yeah.
no CEF. So
No,
we
no,
just
with
need to see.
respect to the Cisco, with respect to Cisco SD-WAN.
Mhm.
So if I enable this controller, whatever
Mhm.
that enable command is there.
See again, if you talk about CEF, right, it would still be there. If you are on Cisco router, if we talk about vEdge, there is no CEF, CEF, right? But what CEF is, that function is already there on platforms, right?
Yeah.
Even if Juniper, it is just that Cisco have brandished these things by name CEF, but things are there on other platforms as well. It's just
Yeah.
that their name is not CEF there,
They have
right?
some other name. Yeah.
Yes. So for vEdges, similar thing is there. For C-edges, Cisco routers, again, CEF would be there. But again, the key concept of CEF, right, on high level is to make the adjacency for the next stop, right?
Yeah, because this SD-WAN technology, what it is doing, it is managing everything centrally about the
Yes.
routes, right?
Yes.
And CEF is doing this routing management on individual routers.
So note, I think emphasize it, right? Specifically, it is about the next stop, the exit interface to find out the MAC address of the next layer 2 next stop, right?
Yeah.
Mapping the layer 3 IP address, mapping the correct interface, that out of which interface packet should go out, switching the
Yeah.
interfaces on the device. So CEF is the device specific thing. So for
Yeah.
SD-WAN, we are talking about on whole network on a broader level. CEF is one device thing. It would still be there. What it was doing before, it would be doing there as well, even in the
Oh,
SD-WAN environment. No change.
okay. Okay. CEF would say this is the exit interface.
Yes,
This is the
correct.
next hop IP address.
Correct.
And
Yes.
SD-WAN would simply say this is the next hop.
Yes.
Okay.
Don't worry, we'll explain, slowly, gradually, we will move further. So it would be more clear now, because so far I'm telling you the data plane, right, about between two devices.
Yeah.
So the next stop would be the IPsec tunnel between them. I'll explain, don't worry.
Yeah.
Not to confuse, right? Don't. So that let's eat as much we can digest, right?
Yeah.
So we will continue tomorrow, right, with the similar other things, right? So I'm not in hurry, right? Not for this batch. Everywhere where I teach SD-WAN, right, I am not hurry, because these are the basic things which build the foundation, right? If you are clear on these things, then SD-WAN is nothing. You just need to study, go on, and everything would be clear. But if these basic things are not clear, then it would be difficult to understand further topics.
And what would be the latency for our networks?
So that really depends upon the links that we have, right?
Yeah.
So see, SD-WAN is to, you can say, cosmetically manage the things. Latency, cable connection, CEF, everything would remain same. No change
Okay.
over there. It is cosmetically managing the things, virtually managing the better. We can say virtually managing things better to manage the
Okay, because
network.
in your, yeah, I got it. In your earlier example, you mentioned we have 4 branches, one in USA, other 3 in India.
Mhm.
So does it mean SD-WAN is a kind of maybe substitution or
No.
something like of BGP?
So you can say what we have BGP in non SD-WAN environment. There is another protocol in the SD-WAN environment, there would be a different protocol, proprietary protocol, but not BGP.
Okay.
So
But it would do some similar job.
yes,
Something
yes,
similar.
absolutely, absolutely. So may I know anyone have worked apart from Cisco on any other vendor like Juniper, HP, Alcatel, Huawei, Ericsson, Nokia?
I have worked on the Nokia
So how do you run BGP there in Nokia? Is it the command router BGP or something else?
router BGP.
How about the neighbor and address family?
It is different.
So
Yeah, it's
same.
similar, but
This is what I'm trying to show you that what SD-WAN is for Cisco, there are other vendors who are also running SD-WAN, but their command may not be router BGP. Just for comparing the BGP thing, right? For other vendors, BGP would not be there to exchange the routes, right? Like Cisco SD-WAN also does not have BGP, but the concept is same. The See, all SD-WAN vendors, they have similar thing to separate three different planes. This is the key concept. All vendors,
And
they are doing
yeah,
this key thing.
yeah. And
It's the
another
set.
thing, okay, and another thing, this would be for the same organizations with different branches. Because
Yes,
with
so far.
BGP, it is the autonomous system, right?
Yes, yes, so far, yes. So because one SD-WAN network, when I was saying when I was saying this full mesh of IPsec tunnels, right?
Yeah.
These full mesh would be within the network of one organization only.
One organization, yeah.
There is one key that we need to define on all the devices to make them part of one organization. That key defines
Okay.
that this router is part of which organization.
Okay, okay. Could be a number,
Yes,
maybe whatever.
alphanumeric thing, yes.
Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, all good for now.
Okay. So I'll stop screen sharing.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you very much. That was a very nice session.
Okay.
So this is going to be 1.5 hour
We
per
can
day, just
we are
Saturday,
very much
Sunday, 3
we are
hours.
very much flexible. So on weekends, it may be 1 hour, it may be 2 hours. So that really depends upon the pace. There is no restriction, no hard thing, right? It really depends upon the topic. If you think it is kind of overloading, we can wrap in the 30 minutes, 45 minutes as well. If you think we are running fine, we can extend to 2 hours as well.
I'm not based on that because like the information that I have got was that this is 3 hours per day. That's why I just want to
No,
confirm.
3 hours per weekend, I would say.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, it should be all good. As long as we learn the technology, that is what
Yes,
we want.
absolutely.
Tomorrow again by same time?
Yes, same time.
Okay.
Plus, I'll be sharing the notes as well as I told you before, right? So I need some time to update the documents, right? Once they are done, I'll share with you the Google Drive link and all those I'll explain how we can access all these documents.
Okay, what about the practical things? Do we have any simulators for this or we need to
So
have?
we have EVNG lab from networking. So you would be given your own instance of that lab, your own dedicated instance.
Yeah.
You need to build everything from scratch in your instance. I'll show you first how to do each and every step on all the devices. Then you need to do it by yourself, everyone.
So EVNG is a simulator or emulator?
Yes, just like GNS3. But for you, it does not make any
I
difference.
used, yeah,
You would
I
get
use GNS3. I have not used EVNG.
Mhm.
Is EVNG a simulator or an
Yes,
emulator?
emulator.
So what about the iOS?
Everything would be there. You just need to power on the device and start working. You don't need to do anything else. Everything would be set up.
Would there be, it will be permanently for us or
Yes.
as long as, okay.
So when you say permanent, at least till the duration of the course.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning. Yeah, please go on, Subha. We cannot hear you, Subha, if you're speaking. No? Sherry, is it only me or?
No, I can hear you.
Okay, okay.
I can.
Okay. So sorry, we were talking about, right, the login duration of the lab. At least it is there till the course duration, but after course duration, for how much time it is available, you would need to check with the support team, networking
Okay,
admin team, right? Of
Amit.
course, it would not be permanent. Yeah. Sorry for
Good
this.
morning,
So,
sir. Both media needs.
Amit, regarding the practicals, so let's suppose like if we practice and we face some issue, so how we can, do we need to reach out to you for the
Yeah.
solution
I'll
or
share
support?
my email, right? You can contact me, and admin team also available. You can raise ticket to admin team. They would also be there to support.
Okay. Yeah,
But
because like
I,
while creating a lab, maybe like I stuck somewhere and I need someone's assistance,
so you
who can
would,
help.
I have seen, right, people rarely face any problem. The reason is the lab is properly set up, right? Everything is already there. You just need to know how to configure IP address, etc. That's it. Because other all things would be there in recording in documents, that where to
Okay.
write what configuration, etc. So you, I think, because from the based on the experience from past batches, there are not much issues.
So
Okay.
whatever the labs we are going to practice, so you're going to show it first, and
Of
we
course,
just need to
of course,
we need to
of
just
course.
practice that one, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Will
Okay,
we
is
have
there
any?
any other prerequisite, like maybe something we should go through? Because see, for me, SD-WAN is total different. I have not worked on the catalyst switches. Uh, I have worked on the MPLS VPN,
Yeah,
but I have not worked
that
on the
is more
security
than enough.
part.
More
I
than
have
enough.
not worked.
Don't
Okay.
worry. Yeah, more than enough.
I have worked on all those protocols, BGP, OSF, but I don't know like if there is any prerequisite I need to go through. Security part,
Don't worry.
I'm nil.
Security part, there won't be much. Yeah.
Okay.
But we will manage that. Don't worry.
I
Okay.
think as long as you know what is Cisco networking, should
Yes,
be.
absolutely. It is absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Good
This
morning,
is
sir.
just one new technology, like what we used to have: packet switching, then
Yes.
fast switching, then safe, and now SD-WAN.
Yes.
Maybe I may be
So
wrong,
just
but just
just in your imagination, the SD-WAN is site-to-site IPsec tunnel on the top of existing network.
okay.
Existing
Centrally managed.
network would be there as it is. It's just that there would be overlay site-to-site IPsec tunnels between all the sites.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, anything else? I think somebody was
Sir, good morning,
trying
sir.
to.
Myself,
Yes, Suman.
Suman. Actually,
Yes.
Saturday and Sunday, I have the office, and these class will be recorded because when I want to see in the night, that time will be because I am free. So that time I will be check the total video link video.
Okay, so you're saying so you would be walking through the recorded sessions, right?
Actually, I have Saturday, Sunday, both day I have the office.
Okay,
Because
okay.
in the morning section, actually very difficult to watch the live section. And if I
Understand.
have if I have doubted anything, so how I be able to solve
So
or
yeah, in the subsequent sessions, I'll share my contacts, right? So you can raise
okay,
to me over the email, or you can also, there is a doubt portal, right? On
yes,
the
sir.
networkings portal. I'll share the details.
Mm.
There is doubt portal where you can, this is a community form of networkings. So if you have any doubt, you can raise there. Out of all available trainers, they would answer on the best effort basis.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay. Just this is just because I work on Sundays also, but how many weeks is this course going to be?
When you say in terms of weeks, it would be, let's say 448, 10 to 12 weeks.
10 to 12 weeks. Okay. So what about next Sunday, 26th Jan, is it going to be a class or
Yes,
that is going
yes,
to be a public
yes,
holiday?
yes. Yes, we will
Because
continue.
26th Jan, Republic Day.
Yes, yes. But public days, I think we should better utilize to learn new things, right? Because on daily basis, I know everybody is busy, right?
No. 26th Jan is Republic Day of India. So
Yes.
are we going to study or it's going to be holiday?
Yeah, we will continue with the class. We will be studying
Okay,
this.
okay,
Yes.
okay.
But rest, it's all again mutual thing. If you guys want, we can keep it off.
No, I won't because
Yeah.
from
From my side,
second
it's
Feb,
not off.
yeah, because from second Feb I'll be working on Sundays. I'll have
Okay.
to manage those working hours.
Sure. We'll continue.
Sir, I have one more question.
Mhm.
Sir, this before the SD-WAN, its MPLS is known to be mandatory or not?
So this was the reason I explained in this picture, right? That whatever is in the existing network, side to side tunnel would be on the top of that. Be it MPLS, be it internet, be it mix of those, everything would be reused. MPLS is not going to go anywhere. It would stay.
Means if I not know the MPLS, so it's not to be difficult to understand
No,
the
no.
SD-WAN.
Even if you don't know MPLS, then also it is fine. But
Okay.
I'll cover that in the prerequisite sessions. So don't worry. After those sessions, you won't say I don't know MPLS.
Okay. One thing I have to know, sir. Sir, one thing I have to know before the SD-WAN, what should we know? Means CCNA, CCNP on the any firewall
No. Just
firewall
basic
network.
Cisco things. If
Cisco thing.
you know
Okay.
about basic things, IP address, show IP interface brief, show interfaces,
Okay.
show version, that's fine.
Static routing, dynamic routing, default
Yes.
setting.
Yes,
That's
yes,
all
yes.
you need to know.
Basic
Understood.
CCNA things, yes.
You need to see what is the routing table commands.
Yes,
That's all.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, basic
And
things.
when the sir, today is the theory class. When the practical will be start?
Practical would start, I think, after a month or so, after covering the
Yes.
prerequisite things, yes.
And I have seen, sir, in your side, there have some use the sorry, what is actually not understand. I have actually installed my desktop. Is the not remember at that time. Means the actually in your side, whatever you install, this means that software name. Can you tell me the software is?
EVNG.
Yes,
typing on
yes, UAVNG. There
Yes.
actually devices used. The device can be can I install my desktop means what?
Okay. So you are
Device?
saying to install that software on your PC so that you can create lab in your PC, right?
Yes, I
You
have
can
PC.
do it right, but for the better performance, optimal performance, you need a large CPU and RAM capacity. At least, so RAM at least you need is 16 GB.
Yes, I have 8 GB, but I can expand it. But after the 2 months, that I cannot be used the your the practical
Yeah,
lab.
understand. Yes, for that purpose, you can create your own lab in your laptop. Yes.
What device is need, please? Can you brief me or can you share the details? Then I can install my desktop.
Yes. I will share with you the links. Yeah, tomorrow. Just
Yes.
please remind me. I'll share with you the links on how to do this.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, all good. We need to leave or okay.
Yes. We are done for
Thank
today,
you
right?
very much.
If no
Okay.
other question or doubts, we can conclude for today and see you tomorrow.
Okay, see you. Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Thank you, sir. Have a nice day.